Welcome to fournseven-poster-frame belysning.
You are not broken. You are
out of balance.
and there is a path home.
This is fournseven-poster-frame belysning,
From the Alaska ulfhednar
ancestral morning light for those
who have been through hell.
and are still standing.
This nonprofit has a sliding scale guidance
At alaskaulfhednar.org/guidance.
for felonious belly snake.
Begins now.
Every day, someone's little girl, daughter, sister, girlfriend, fiance, wife, cousin, mother, auntie, grandmother, great grandmother, elder disappears, shattering a family, a community, the world. There is something we can all do. Remember them.
Good morgen and happy Freyja's Day to you for all of my friends who follow the Christ and Christian faith. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and I hope that through your spiritual connections that now we seek peace, harmony, joy. It is so critical that we embrace our similarities in lieu of our differences, that we may find this harmony, that we may find this peace amongst all peoples, regardless of some affiliation. So I pray that this passing of your holiday has given you a new insight for those of you who struggle to wrap your minds around the ideas and thoughts and certainly the beliefs of others around you. Today I want to talk about the energy of Freyja, a very powerful energy that is present in all things. So I want to talk about all of those things that we mentioned this time of year: love, peace, joy, harmony, all of those things. Before we get started today, I do want to say a huge thank you, just a wonderful, warm, very heartfelt thank you to all of you who have followed and subscribed us on whatever channel, whether it be audio or video or wherever. Thank you so much. It's because of you we're generating a message that hopefully will help others to find peace, to be able to harmonize with their fellow humans, regardless of some ideology or certainly our own unique spiritual beliefs. A huge shout out, firstly, to KWWP Radio, nonprofit radio, generating the sounds and certainly the messages of the embracing of our culture, of our ancestry, and certainly all of those things that give us power and help us to establish who we really are. And also to my friends and family at New Reality TV, newrealitytv.com, a streaming channel dedicated to spiritual practices and beliefs all around the world. And hopefully enough spiritual differences to recognize the similarities, to recognize a similar path. It matters not what we want to call it. Okay? So, super important. So, thank you so much for those. For all of you who want to get a hold of me, you can always find me at author.akoutlaw.com. There is my webpage for all the books, and certainly to these shows that we do each and every week. Thank you so much for any of you who may need to bend another ear. Just have a conversation, talk about those things that which could provide you with some level of peace and joy. By all means, you can check out akulfhednar.org, and there you can find advising sessions that we can communicate and hopefully help you to find the peace that you're looking for. Today's show brought to you by Fournseven-Poster and Art. We want to say a huge thank you to them and all of our other affiliates for that matter. Fournseven, of course, a wonderful collection of art that for the office, for the home, for just anywhere that you really need to individualize, to make it you, to just embrace that power that is you. Fournseven has a wonderful collection of arts that you can place on any wall, any surface, and help to illuminate that individuality that is you. So today we're talking about Freyja, and we're talking about the magic of Freyja. For those of you who don't know, maybe unfamiliar with Norse legends and lore, Freyja, of course, being the goddess of love and war, she was also many stories. You'll find her scattered throughout the sagas. She actually began recognition by the Germanic people as the Celts migrated north, according to my ancestors, as the Celts migrated north out of the Iberian Peninsula. One of the recognitions of Freyja would have probably connected pretty closely with Danu. Danu, of course, being the god, the mother goddess of the Celts. She recognized a lot of the same powers that we see later in the sagas of Freyja. Now, Freyja, of course, being one of the Vanir goddesses, was used during the exchange, during the goddesses exchange that brought peace between the Aesir and the Vanir. She would go and reside in, of course, Asgard with the rest of pretty much what you know of the Norse legends. She would become kind of who she was, really kind of the underlying energy management of Asgard. She would go on to teach Odin the magic, the seiðr magic. She would go and she would release the energies and knowledges of the runes, of which Odin would be willing to sacrifice himself by impaling himself using his own spear, a gungnir, and he would impale himself on Yggdrasil for 9 days and 9 nights, that he may see the power and the energy of the runes. So super important as she underlies that energy management. Let's talk for a minute about what I mean. Many times you'll hear me say, throughout many different conversations, you'll hear me talk a lot about moving energy, about redirecting energy, about absorbing energy, and a lot of people have asked me, what does that exactly mean? Well, energy comes to us in a multitude of forms. One of the probably the most positive, not positive, probably the most popular or the most abundant would be that of light. Light energy. Light energy comes from the sun, it comes from everywhere, but it's fed into our sensory input when we open our eyes in an illuminated situation. Obviously, if we have our eyes closed, it's a little bit more challenging. If it's dark, it's a little bit more challenging, but nonetheless, we're receiving light energy. We open those eyes, and probably the next most popular or most abundant after the light would be pressure, would be sound, would be any type of pressure on the physical form. This would include touch. Hearing, of course, is audio that's touching on things within the ear. All right, that's how we hear things. Is that we're sound waves are pressing on very short hairs within the ear that produce sound. So this pressure is energy. It's energy particles. It's moving. Many times we may step outside and a gust of wind comes brushing past us. This is energy. It's moving, right? So light and pressure are probably the two most abundant energies that we're used to. Now, when we talk about transferring these energies from one form to another, we have a couple of different ways that they're going to arrive. Many times our sensory input are going to pick up the two most abundant, and that would be this light, this vision, we're seeing things, or we have the pressure, the audio, or the touch, the feeling of touch. Okay, so we're going to take these sensory inputs and we're going to process them through our thought process. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, I did write a book that was given to me by the ancestors of a visual, of a way to look at our thought process in a visual way, to think about it very differently in where we could have control. Where do we surrender our control when it talks about sensory input creating emotional states? Now, for you, for each of us, energy within us, within our mind, creates, within our diet, that creates energy, biochemistry within the body. All of these things are created by this physical form. Okay, so we can create a level, if you will, of this energy. Now, a lion's share of that energy is this thing that many people say they don't have, and that's the power of hope. Hope is an energy generation, right? So it creates energy that then can inject itself in our thought process, and we'll talk about that in just a moment, because it's going to inject in many different places because we have control. Now, in the book, Rewriting Your Emotional Recipes, and you can find that book at kobo.com. So for those of you interested, it is an ebook. You can pick it up, put it on your phone, read it anywhere you want. It does have some exercises that you can look through each of these stages and be able to kind of press on those things and determine what exactly am I feeding into the energy I'm receiving. When we talk about vision, vision comes in sensory input, just like we've been told for our whole life. We see things. Some of those things we don't see, technically. We know, based on science, based on medical evidence, that a good portion of what we think we see, we imagine. Right? So when we talk about our eyesight and checking, visioning things, we have to remember what our imagination is doing. Our imagination is setting us up for fight or flight. It is injecting memories into our sensory input. It is saying, if we were to look at a scene and we see the scene, we bring in that experience, our imagination is going to kind of try to identify within that image, is there something there that could damage us, could cause us some problems? Is there a predator? And this comes from way back, right? So way back when. So when we think about the energy coming in, part of that, again, is this imagination honing down and figuring out, is there prey, is there something that we need to be afraid of? Is this something I need to prepare for, right? So it's setting the stage for fight or flight. Now, when we're identifying these fight or flight items, we have to also remember that our human form is not perfect. It's far from it. Many of us may have some level of sight difficulties, and this is probably where these guys come on in handy, is when we are our eyesight is not what it's not 100%. Maybe our peripheral vision's not good. Maybe our main vision's not good. Maybe our color vision is not good. All of these things are going to alter the item coming into our sensory input of sight. Same thing with our audio. Same thing with our smell, our taste, and certainly our touch. All of them can be altered because of our physical form. Not a bad thing, just a recognition that those things can be altered. Now, sensory input brings in the experience. It's been altered a little bit because of our eyesight, because of our imagination. All of those things are going to form into, they're going to convert from here to here. So our eyes, in the case of vision, our ears in the case of hearing, nose, taste, all those things, are going to convert the experience into bioelectricity. We're going to create bioenergy within the physical form. That bioenergy will then pass through a ring. Now, my ancestors referred to this ring as the current emotional state, or, as they like to call it, your weather. Your weather is what I call it, the mood ring. What mood you're in. You see things, your brain will alter what you see, hear, taste, touch, smell, based on how you feel. If you're grumpy, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, you're going to see, or your brain will interpret now our sensory input differently than if you were, say, joyful, say, sad, say, in love, right? Because we don't see anything when we're in love, because we're altered, right? So our mood ring is then going to alter the signal. Not a bad thing. We simply have to recognize it. That's all I'm asking anyone ever to do, is simply recognize what it is, right? So we have energy now. This image has come to our eyes. Our eye converts the outside energy to the inside energy. That inside energy is then broadcast across, in the case of vision, of course, the optic nerve. Optic nerve then passes through what's I call the mood ring. The mood ring is something we have control of. We can dictate what it does, what mood we're in. We can set that. It may take some focus, it may take concentration, but we have the ability to change that mood. We wake up in a bad mood, we simply use some kind of practice that we can generate, that we can create, that can change that. That can change that mood, right? Instead of waking up in the drudgery of having to go to work today, we wake up with the desire for new experiences, for new opportunities to learn who we are, who other people are, who other situations are. When we decide to change the perspective, we change the mood. When we change the mood, we change the energy that we are now receiving from the world. After passing out of the mood ring, this energy, this experience, is going to pass down to what my ancestors referred to as the well of the self. The well of the self is a construct all of its own. It is very akin to a water well that we've seen in plenty of images throughout, the TV and imageries. And it serves a multitude of functions. But primarily, the big thing here is going to be our beliefs, our virtues, and our values. What do we hold important? And each of those pieces, each of those values, each of those belief systems are going to alter then even further this experience energy packet, if you will. All right? So they're going to be altered on what we believe. Do we believe that cars can turn upside down in the middle of the street? I've seen a couple. It could happen. Sure, I'll believe that. So each of our beliefs, and they can be very small, very infinitesimal, but they're there. And they're going to alter this energy that's now passing through the well of the self. It's super important that we recognize all of those values, virtues, and belief systems we control. We can believe it or not. That's up to each of us. Maybe based on experience, maybe based on what other people have told us, whatever the case. Those belief systems can be changed. They can be altered. Now, before I get into the last couple pieces I want to touch on today, I need to take a real quick commercial break. During the commercial break, I hope that you would take a minute with yourself to think about what you do in your everyday life to that energy already. We're only two steps in, really, 3 steps if you count sensory input itself. So we're 3 steps in, and yet the packet, the experience that we've had, has already been altered significantly. So let's take a real quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll get through the rest of the steps very quickly and hopefully give you some ideas as to where you can control your destiny today. We'll be right back.
Then Sheared turns myth, memory, and modern minds into bold prints that change a room. See today's feature pieces and more with a link in the description.
It's happening.
It's in the air. The time is now.
We're all waking up.
We're waking up.
We're all waking up.
It's all shifting.
New vibrations.
It's you.
It's you.
It's me. It's all of us.
Together.
A new time.
A new day.
A new energy.
A new energy.
New reality.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
NewRealityTV.com.
Light the morning fire. Blackout coffee roast bold. Clean flavor for long days and late edits. Grab your bag. Use the link in the descriptions below.
These words are stirring something heavy in you. You don't have to carry it alone. Sliding scale spiritual guidance with sessions outside normal business hours is available through the Alaska Ulfhednar. Visit akulfhednar.org/guidance to book a free discovery session.
Welcome back. Before we get into this segment, I want to first take a moment because we missed it before the break, so I want to cover it now. And that is that in my life, when I need instruction, when I need guidance, kind of a buoy system, I call upon the runes. Freyja taught me that the power of the runes creates a methodology at which the gods can communicate, can talk to me and tell me decisions that I need to make today. So in today's runes, remember, we don't look at the rune originally. We simply draw a small tile that has runes on it. Today's rune, Ingus. Ingus. Ingus, a wonderful rune. And what Ingus means, what the gods are speaking to us with Ingus, is this idea that we need to take time for ourselves. Gestation, if you will. For us to kind of look intrinsically instead of extrinsically for the answers that we seek. Your body knows. Your mind knows. The answers at which you seek. The connection to the spiritual realm is strong within all humans, within all living things. We simply have to stop stopping it. Ingus is telling us today, particularly as we get ready to move through the remainder of this calendar year, Julian calendar year, that we should look inside for the answers. Things that we believe, things that align with our virtues, our values, and our beliefs will tell us that. They'll be obvious. Things that contrast against it will also be just as obvious. So, take a minute today. Spend some time with your favorite person, or it should be your favorite person, and that's you. Embrace yourself. Look inside. For some of the answers that you're looking for are already there. Today, with the magic of Freyja, we're talking about how thoughts and energies move through us, and we've arrived at the well of the self. And the well of the self, again, has our virtues, values, and belief systems. It also has our treasury, which is contained within the walls of this well. It's half filled with the turmoil of our everyday living, right? So the water, if it's agitated, and it could become very murky, very hard to see through, certainly hard to pass energy through. And so it becomes more difficult to live authentically. When we are living in our virtues, values, and belief systems, and we are fully believing in them, we are living in what's called the authentic self. We are who we are. At the bottom of the well of the self, the energy is converted. It's converted to biochemistry, right? Now, this is a very important part of our physical life. This is why we're here, really. This is why we spend time in this physical form. Is when that energy reaches the bottom of the well of the self, it's converted into biochemistry. This biochemistry is then passed along the train, right? So it continues on, but now it's no longer bioenergy, it's biochemistry. Now, the biochemistry, as it flows through the body and the mind, it's actually going to pick up all the biochemistry, or all the chemistry that you've already created within the body, right? So all of your hormones, all of the things that are floating around the blood system, including, and certainly including, any mind-altering substances, alcohol, drugs, whatever it may be, all of these alter your biochemistry as it moves further down the road. Now, when it gets to its next stop, which is called the Horn of Feeling, the gateway to the Horn of Feeling, my ancestors called the recipe card. This is a card that we're going to write for our whole existence. We're going to make note, right? So every time we receive a chemical composition at the Horn of Feeling, we're going to evaluate it, and we're going to say, well, based on what I've already lived through, my previous experiences that I've written on this recipe card, this chemistry, the way it's formed, the way it's put into, means that I'm happy, sad, whatever, right? So whatever that biochemistry represents is plugged into the horn of feeling. Now, the horn of feeling has its own set of rules we can go through, but we have to remember that that recipe card is not written in pen. Now, for those of you who may not be old enough yet to recognize that story or that situation, when we write things in pencil, we have the opportunity to use the eraser. We can change what's written on that recipe card. We can say, you know, that energy is not sad. It's not depressed. It's not angry or bitter or any of that. That's not what it is. Yes, it may not be euphoric, but it's not bad either. And we can do that. We can rewrite that recipe card any way we want. Now, once we get into the horn of feeling, of course, we've talked about before. We always have the cognitive space that's contained within the horn of feeling, and we have the maintenance of the silt that we're dumping into the bottom of this horn of feeling, right? So if we're dumping a lot of silt, we're going to have less space that we can now process our emotional state. Because remember, in the horn of feeling, we're converting back from biochemistry back into bioenergy. But now we're converting something that may be totally different than the experience that we brought in. So we have all this manipulation along the way. Now, the good news for us, each of us, is that we have control of all those steps of manipulation. We get to change those. We get to stipulate what gets changed and how much it's changed. All of the steps along our way. Now, as we get ready for this weekend, I want you to think about all the energy that you're bringing in, what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, touch, all of it, and evaluate it and say, how have I manipulated this energy? How have I corrupted it, maybe? Think about that. Freyja promises us, each of us, that the energies that we receive can be used for good. It can be used for love or war. That decision is up to each of us. What side will you choose? My friends, I wish you the very best Freyja's Day and certainly the weekend as we move forward in our lives. I hope that your experiences serve you well. I hope that you recognize your power in understanding and translating and interpreting the experiences that you have in this realm. I also hope, as I mentioned at the top of the show, for those of you who follow the Christian doctrine, I pray that you have had a wonderful celebration of your Savior, and that it means enough to you that you recognize the spiritual sliver that exists within Christianity, and you begin to recognize the energies that move all over, all the time, from our ancestors, from the gods, from each other. And you recognize your role in interpreting and producing an energy stream that benefits those humans around you, those life forms around you. It is truly important for us to find harmony, that we find the value in everyone, regardless of what they believe, regardless of what they practice, regardless of what they understand of their unique interpretation of their reality. So I pray that you will help me to embrace those thoughts and those feelings as we seek harmony with our fellow life forms. All right? I pray that you will have a wonderful Freyja's Day and that you will take a moment today and certainly tomorrow and Sunday to change your lens. Instead of thinking of everyone that we have to serve and help, turn that energy and look at ourselves and make sure that we're healing ourselves. That we're changing the lens, looking back intrinsically to bring healing, to bring growth, to bring understanding, to bring those things into our lives every day. All right? So I hope you will take some time. In the meantime, my friends, I wish you the very best. The very, very best. And I will look forward to seeing you soon. Mani's Day? Mani's Day. We will see you then. Love and light, my friend.
Fulfilling us. Una. Hjälp oss med. Magnify. Tu för åg. Kaliot.
If what we've touched today hits something raw for you, you don't have to carry it alone. We offer a sliding scale spiritual guidance with sessions outside normal business hours. Visit akulfhednar.org/guidance to book a free discovery session.